You're listening to the G-Spod, America's real gay podcast radio show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another fantastical episode of the G-Spod. I am your very lovely, well-hung host, DJ G, and I am joined by a very talented individual who I have much respect for and I have to give much props up to from World Domination Records. Ladies and gentlemen, the remarkable Gaz Reynolds.
Well, thanks very much, G. It's a great honour to be on the show, and I've got to say, even though I know we've spoken off air and you didn't believe me, but I do tune into your show on a regular basis.
Uh-oh. I might have to just quiz you on that, Gaz.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, don't do that.
Well, you know, Gaz, Sheila wanted to be here, but she had something come up. But, you know, she left you a little message, and I should have been a little bit more prepared for this because now I'm not so prepared. But she left you a little message, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it over here. Where the hell is it? See, now, I should have been more prepared, Gaz. This is what happens, you know. Anyways, like I said, Sheila wanted to be here, and she couldn't, and something came up, and she felt so bad, so she recorded this little bit for you. Here you go.
Hey Gaz, it's Sheila. Sorry I couldn't make it to the interview today, but I ran out of scripts on my penicillin for my chlamydia, so don't worry, G will find many ways to torture me by throwing me in the basement again, so I'll talk to you later. Have fun. Good luck.
She's so kind.
Yeah, you could say that. I don't know about that girl. But anyways, fuck her. She ain't here. We don't need that bitch anyway. We're going to have a lot of fun without that whore. Anyways, I am very honored when you said you were going to come on the show, and I was even more honored when you were like, I love your show. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, this... I
love it. I totally love this show.
Well, thank you. I take that as a compliment, especially when you're listening in another country. It fills me with such joy and such moistness that you could press me with a fork and I would stick.
Oh, dear.
Oh, my. Are you sure you want to go on? Are you sure?
Yeah. On with the show.
On with the show. Anyway, maybe our listeners don't remember, but you actually broke a record here on the G-Spod by being the only artist that we've ever played that made the Pod Safe Party song twice. And now let's see if I'm correct here. But episode number 72, you were our Pod Safe Party song with Where Will You Go, which is like one of my favorite songs by you. And episode number 71, when we played Some Forgive. Now, Some Forgive has been, ladies and gentlemen, has been sweeping the globe, has been topping charts all over the motherfucking place, okay? I'm telling you, Gaz, that has to be a great feeling, man. Tell me.
Do you know, it's really strange because that record originally came out, I think it was the end of, it was the summer of 2005, and it knocked, the summer of 2006, and it knocked Madonna off the world chart. She was...
Say what? I'm sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Okay, Some Forgive came out in the summer of 2006, and it knocked Madonna off the world chart.
Okay, that's what I thought you said, because now every fag listening is gasping at that right now, okay? Gaz knocked Madonna off the charts, ladies and gentlemen. I know, everyone grab a Vicodin. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
You know, it's even I was surprised at that, and it was on the world chart for a month. At number one, but it carried on the charts for quite some time. But it's one of those records that's kind of followed me around, because then I licensed the record to a US label called Reality Entertainment, and I just found out last week that, I don't know if you've heard of War Child, which is one of these big international charities that Madonna and the Pet Shop Boys, Kylie Minogue, they all donate records every year. Have you ever heard of them?
No, I'm sorry, but I'm not that familiar.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a very famous charity, but they've got their own label, and they release records, and last week they actually released Some Forgive on their label, so that was quite a surprise to me. Anyway, this month, basically back in 2004, I had a very big US track out, which basically was being played on just about every station out in the States, called In This House, and it became a very big chart topper for me in various countries around the world. So there was always demands for me to put both of those tracks out as a double A single, new mixes, which I did actually do last year, but it was very low key. So the pressure was back on to do new mixes for it and put it back out again. And last week, basically the world press jumped on it, and there's loads of stuff on Google even now.
Well, who pressures you to pump out these singles? Like the audience, your fans, record companies?
Yeah, generally the fans, and I put myself under a lot of pressure as well.
Yeah. Well, we are our own worst enemy.
Well, something I will say is, and I'm sure a lot of artists can relate to this as well, I quite often listen to my own songs and go, oh my God, that sounds awful.
Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here, Gaz. Why do you want to come on my show and lie to me?
Because when you've heard one of your records over and over and over again, and you've done interviews and promotions and various things, you kind of get sick of the tracks, but somewhere at the back of your head you still know why you wrote that song, and it has a meaning to you.
I always wondered that. I always wondered if artists got sick of it. Especially like artists like big ones like Beyonce or whatever, who were like constantly, say my name, say my name, say my name, say my name. I would get sick of that. I mean, I love music just as the next person, and I have been known to drown a song out, okay? But that's not nearly anything compared to having to perform it and actually recording it and listening to it over and over and over again. Do you have any sort of sanity left?
No. You have to be insane to be in the music industry anyway. But no, I think with a lot of artists, they do. I'm sure it's the same pretty much with any artist, that when they've had a track out that's one of those sort of tracks that follows them around for years and years and years, they get completely sick of it. And it's always nice if you have got one of those tracks that is one of those successful ones, and you've taken a bit of time off to come back with new mixes of it and remind everybody what you've done in the past, and you're back with a new...
let's make you sick with it one more time, and let's make it our very first song of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, this was our Pod Safe Party song back on episode number 71. This is a fantastic song that deserves to be replayed, okay? This is Some Forgive by my very special guest, Gaz Reynolds.
You and me. some forget. Big up to the man they call Gaz Reynolds.
Woo! I don't care, Gaz. You might be sick of that song, but that song still gets me in the mood to jack off. That's what I was telling Gaz while we were playing that. I was like, I'm so excited, I'm jacking off. Okay?
Oh, my God.
I know. Hey, you know what, Gaz? You've heard this show before. You knew what you were getting yourself into.
I know,
okay?
I know. Yeah.
No, seriously, though, I love that song. I know you're probably like, okay, some forgive. But, I mean, it's got to be a good feeling when people say, like, oh, I just love that song, I just love that song. You know, no matter how sick of it you might be, that would be an awesome feeling.
I have to admit, it is still one of my favourites, and it's got a lot of meaning to me, and quite often I do get fans that almost on a daily basis still emails about that track and how they can relate to it. And it might sound like a pop song. I mean, there's a lot of dance versions of that track around as well. In fact, the Starlet DJs, I don't know if you've heard of them, but they had a very big chart hit here last year called Can't Stop Dancing. They used to go out as under the name of the Slee Sisters, and they did do a lot of remixes for... In fact, I think they produced one of the Aqua albums, but I know they certainly did a lot of remixes for them. And they remixed Anastasia. I can't remember what track it was.
Oh, love me
Jerry
some
Halliwell.
Anastasia, okay?
Oh.
I love her.
Yeah, well, they've remixed all the biggies, and they remixed the track, and it was actually their mix that knocked Madonna off the world chart last year, so it was one of my
How does that
anthems.
exactly work, though? How does someone get to remix a song? Like, do they approach you? Or, like, how does that work? I've always wondered that, too.
It works in different ways, because sometimes I'll have producers that will come and say, oh, I love that particular track of yours, can I remix it? And I kind of hum and ha and wonder if they're the right producers to kind of suit that track. But with the Starlet DJs, it wasn't even... I didn't even have to think about it. It was yes. But sometimes you get. Sometimes I'm actually on the lookout for producers, and I did actually just do some recording out in Australia with a Kiss FM DJ out there, and that led to a Kiss FM interview in Australia.
Ah.
Yes, which then led on to just a couple of weeks later me going to #1 in Australia. So. That was rather nice. That's with another track, which I think you might be playing, which is called I Don't Care.
Oh, good song. You know what? We should play that song. I think I already had that lined up. I'm just faking it. Yeah.
Well, you know, I actually found out today that's just gone straight in the international indie charts at number 12.
Get out of here.
No.
All right. Woo!
So that was a bit of a surprise. In fact, I only found out about an hour before we're doing this interview, so that was another kind of that was nice.
What?
People
What
like
happened?
Well, sometimes it is a real surprise. You know, you put a track out and you really don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen with it. And I suppose one of the nice things about what I do is, in fact, I don't know if you've heard of BPM TV. They're Oh, well, they're a top dance station out in Canada, and Last week they actually had I Don't Care on the front of their website, featuring it as CD of the week, which was a nice thing for me, really.
Well, why don't we grant you the same honor and play that song for our listeners right now? This is a great song. This is called I Don't Care.
You had just one thing on your mind. You wanted me for your bed. How could I have been so blind? Don't come to my house. You've got the blood in your veins. Don't come to my house. Don't want to see you here again. Your burning heart goes out to me. Even when you mistreating me. I don't care what you do to me. I don't care anymore. I don't care what you do to me. I don't care anymore. All my friends said you just use me for your games. Now that you have gone, I can feel only pain. Don't come to my house. You'll get the door slammed in your face. Don't come to my house. Don't wanna see you here again. Your burning heart goes out to me. Even when you mistreating me. I don't care what you do to me. I don't care anymore. I don't care what you do to me. I don't care anymore. Even when you mistreating me. Yeah, I don't care what you do to me. I don't care anymore. I don't care what you do to me. I don't care anymore.
Woo! Baby! All right.
Woo!
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 Okay, there's another hot-ass track by Gaz. Man, you are the shiznet, okay? Can I just tell you that?
The what?
Woo!
Sorry?
You are awesome. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. Well, I think you're awesome too.
Oh, aw. Aw. Are you gay? Do you have a boyfriend?
No, I'm not.
Oh. Okay. So, okay, Gaz, tell me now, where do you get inspiration to write songs like this? Like, do you just, are you like on a lot of drugs, or?
No. It's funny because, like I said, I was recently in Australia and I was actually stopped at the airport and they did a drug search of me, and yet I've never actually taken drugs.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I always think at every airport I go to, I always get into some kind of problem anyway. I don't know if it's my look or what, but yeah. But
Well-
no, going back to inspiration, it's really hard to say because sometimes a song will just come to you, or some ideas will come to you, and then the song kind of falls into place over a period of time. and I usually write about situations that have been very personal to me, things that have happened to me, or I write about people that I know about, and I Don't Care is actually about somebody that I knew in the States, so I won't go into detail.
Okay.
But it's another one of those personal songs, which, again, a lot of people seem to be able to relate to.
You know what's really funny about dance music, especially when you're writing like up-tempo beats and stuff like that? It's so hard to get a more somber message across, even though that's a big thing in dance music, you know? Especially really disco-y hits, you know, like it's always, my baby left me, I will survive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I always
Yeah.
wonder, like, you know, like what kind of depression are you in that makes you write an up-tempo song? Because I'm coming from a guy, I love the Smiths, okay?
Yeah.
And that is totally like slit your wrists in the hot bathtub kind of music. And, but I also love that somber side of dance music. I love when they're singing about pain, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So I was going to ask you a question, actually.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So you're a Morrissey fan,
Yes.
and you know who used to date Morrissey?
I know that I've only heard from rumor, but from what I understand, Pete Burns of Dead or Alive.
Yes.
Is that a true thing?
Yes, it is, because I used to be very, very good friends with Pete Burns, and in fact, I'm sitting in a room now where there's a picture of Pete and me together at one of those celeb bashes in London from a couple of years
Get
ago.
out of here.
No,
Listen to you.
I'll email you the picture.
Okay.
No, and no, that is true. That is true. And Pete also used to date. I don't know if you remember Steve Coy, who was the drummer of Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I always thought that one guy that played bass guitar, I think, was kind of cute in Dead or Alive.
yeah, that was Mike Percy.
Wow. So is Pete Burns really as bitchy as everyone says he is?
He is very bitchy.
Well, I just love that. I love bitches.
Yeah, he's. Do you know, Pete is a great guy, but at the same time, he can be an incredibly difficult person to get on with. And I'm sure if he ever hears this, he'll probably strangle me. But the very first time I actually met Pete, before I became pally with him, I actually owned. This is going back years ago. I actually owned a market stall in Notting Hill Gate. We call it Portobello Road Market, and he bought a pair of curve rounds, which ended up being the curve rounds that he wore on You Spin Me Round on one of the 12 inches. I think it was the Murder Mix.
Pete Burns sat on 12 inches?
I knew you was going to twist it around.
I'm sorry.
But I was always a great fan of all the 80s styles, like, you know, Culture Club and Dead or
Oh my
Alive,
God!
Razor.
You know, Gaz, me and Gaz have been chatting back and forth via emails and MySpace and everything, and I told Gaz I am a huge Boy George fan.
Yeah,
So
well,
huge that he's the only star I ever get truly starstruck over, and I even ask myself why I get so stupid, but yeah.
Well, you know, I was at a club with Boy George. I think it was about a year and a half ago. And
I hate you.
And well, you know, he's out in Australia. He had just got out to Australia when I came back, and he's got himself into some trouble out there now. So
What is wrong with my boy?
I don't know, because he was in trouble in the States, wasn't he?
Yeah, and they had pictures of him everywhere, like wigless, makeupless, out
I know,
sweeping the
what-
streets of New York.
Yeah, I really don't know what he's doing at the moment.
I
He's,
know. Maybe he just needs sex.
Maybe.
Now, I don't love Boy George in the way that I would want to give him sex, but
You know, but
if it'll help.
But I totally loved the Culture Club days, and I thought it was great a few years back when Culture Club reformed, and they seemed to be back big time, and then Boy George decided to go off and do his own thing again, and I saw just a few months ago that Culture Club had reformed again, and they were doing like the cabaret circuit with.
No, with that horrible replacement that really made me angry. I'm sorry.
I think all Boy George fans and all Culture Club fans were very, very disappointed.
Yes, I mean, I went to a Culture Club forum, and everyone that I talked to in there was just appalled. The guy is awful. I'm sorry, but he's awful. I don't know what his name is, and I don't give a fuck. Sam something.
Well, and the other thing is you just cannot, Boy George was Culture Club, so you can't just say, hey, here's Culture Club with a new singer. It's rather like having Queen and trying to replace Freddie Mercury.
Well, you know, I mean, we see this time and time again. You're lucky you're a solo artist, because it was like the Supremes, then it became Diana Ross and the Supremes. And here in the States, it was Culture Club, but then when they got really popular, you always heard people saying Boy George and Culture Club.
That's right.
You know, so it always goes that way when the person in your band that is the driving force, the thing that makes it. I mean, you know, that's naturally what's going to happen. The other band members kind of fade into the background.
Yeah, and that's usually why bands tend to fall apart as well. I mean, you know, it's rather like in the Duran Duran days, and Simon Le Bon and John Taylor, they were like the really big ones of the band. So then there was all the arguments behind the scenes, and of course they split and then reformed with new members, which didn't quite work. And then a couple of years back, they all reformed with the original lineup and came back big time.
Now, do you feel like you would have like a hard time working with other people? Like, do you write your own songs?
Yeah, I write all my own songs. I write all my own music, and then usually the producers come in and do remixes, and so it kind of gets changed around anyway.
Yeah. But you know what? It's good. Remixes are awesome, like not only for the club DJ, but remixes are awesome because you get a different take on a song that you really like.
You do, and also what I'm often asked this question of why do you need to have so many different mixes, and the reason why is because, first of all, I might write a song that, for example, you might like, and you might want to play it on your station, but you might not like the particular style of the track that I give you. So you might say to me, oh, have you got anything more dancey or more poppy or whatever? And, you know, that's where the remixes come in. But, of course, remixes are very important for the club scene.
Oh, very. I mean, being a club DJ for years, I always leaned more towards a lot of percussion, the tribal mixes and stuff like that. And that's one thing that's always a plus when you got mixes, is that, you know, you can play a popular song and keep it to your style of DJing.
But there seems to be very much a trend now of the remixes being more instrumental for the club scene.
Well, I mean, I myself, personally, I just like a lot of percussion. Like, I love a lot of toms and congos and deep bass noises. You know, not necessarily leaning to that repetitious techno. Although they have a lot of cool noises, they just need to switch it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
'Cause I think most techno nowadays is getting kind of out of control with its repetition, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I like to hear words, too, by the way.
I do.
I'm not against instrumentals, but I do like at least some words, you know.
Yeah, and I think, you know, because I'm a big 80s fan, I remember, dare I say it, going back to the 12-inch days.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but that whole culture of, you know, I mean, we had vinyl, then we had CDs. Now CDs seem to be going out of the window, so a lot of remixes seem to be going with that as well. They seem to be fading into the, you know, 80s and 90s, and now we've got the more digital technology, and a lot of labels are not now commissioning club mixes because everybody's going online.
Yeah. I mean, to me, and this is just my personal opinion, I mean, you know, shoot me if you want, I don't give a fuck, but I think a lot of the technology, you know, like, when it went from vinyl to CD, I didn't want to, as a DJ, I didn't want to switch from vinyl to CD. You know, there's a certain charm in remixing with vinyl.
Yeah.
You know, But then they kind of added a lot of digital effects and different things that you could do when you're mixing CDs. But, and here's where you might want to shoot me, but in today's technology, when you're out there DJing at a club, to be DJing off of a laptop or using like an MP3 mixer, that doesn't sit well with me.
But you know, that is the way it's going now, because
I know, but these people aren't even mixing. I mean, they're using programs to mix for them. You know, they're basically just selecting a song and where they want to clip it at, you know?
Well, you know, it's even like most of the radio stations now are going that way as well. I mean, I did do a radio interview a couple of weeks back where I was in the studio, and the DJ was very old school. He just did not like any of the modern technology. So pretty much everything, apart from my tracks, pretty much everything he played on the show was vinyl, which is very rare. He just couldn't get his head around because there was all these computer screens in the studio, and he would not have any of it at all. All the other DJs thought it was very funny. But you know, very much so now. It is very much that digital technology. So I personally think, and you can shoot me if you like, but I actually think CDs will be completely gone within the next 2 or 3 years.
Well, don't get me wrong though, because I love my iPod. Okay, it's like my best friend.
Right.
I mean, I love the idea that you can have all these songs and creating playlists and stuff that you can take around with you that's small. It's not bulky like a CD player. It's not going to skip. You're not going to have problems like with the old Sony Walkman where the tape is going to break or drag. Yeah. You know, and I'm all into that. I'm all into the MP3, MP4 technology. But when it comes to mixing, I just can't dig it. Because I feel like there's no... When I mix, I like to get up there and I like to be spontaneous and I like to have a lot of variety. And it seems to me that they just like to blend songs together that, you know, just so happen to, that the beats per minute match, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I offending you now?
No, because it's always interesting, because I do speak to a lot of DJs all the time, because, you know, I own my own record label as well, so it's interesting to get feedback from DJs and how they actually see where the music scene's going and how they work, and you know, you get so many different opinions. But generally speaking, club DJs and even a lot of the radio DJs still like to work with vinyl if they can.
Yeah. I mean, it's tougher nowadays to work with vinyl because you can't burn anything to vinyl, where you can, at least if you're mixing with CDs, you can burn something to a CD and take it with you, you know. And a lot of people say, well, MP3s aren't any different or whatever, but I don't know. I saw a mixer that was, you jacked 2 iPods into. I did. I was out at the Best Buy, which I don't know if you got that out where you are, but, you know, it's like a big electronics store here in the U.S., and I was pretty much floored, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, what have we gotten ourselves into? I don't know.
The technology of today is completely crazy anyway, and it does make me wonder where it's all gonna end. I mean, just when I think I've got my head around the new technology, something new comes in. So,
well, I don't know. I think maybe we might be boring our listeners. Maybe we should talk about Dick. And speaking of Dick, is there a lot of good Dick in England? Like, I mean, yours is there. Is that good?
Huh?
I said yours is in England. Is that any good?
Of course mine's good.
Oh, okay. I mean, I figured, you know.
Mine's huge. Oh, dear.
No, seriously, like, the gay scene is so different in London.
Well,
in all of Europe than it is here in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Brighton, which is basically the gay capital of the UK, and that's only an hour's drive from me. And I know I've got a big fan base down that way. So,
well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, you do dance and house music, and has been for many decades now that gay people follow that.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge, and I will say we still very much for the mixes that we do for the UK club scene, we very much play into like the house scene and the 80s vibe and all that. That's really that market, and well, me being a big fan of that style, those styles as well, it's great for me.
Yeah, I mean, I always wondered about that. Like, a few weeks back, we had the Garland Cult, and Aiden Casserly, he's also straight, but he's like, you know, he understands that his genre of music has a huge gay following, and he just loves that.
Yeah.
You know, he loves that. And I just think that's really interesting how the gay culture has really helped to not only mold but keep together that music scene, even when it's not popular on the radio. Like, here in the United States, we don't have, like, dance radio stations. At least we don't here in good old Pittsburgh.
You have got dance stations out there, but what's happened in the States over the past few years is because the R&B, you know, the very much the urban scene has completely swamped the American market.
Everything is hip-hop here.
Yeah. So what's happened is there are pockets throughout the States where dance music's still popular, but it's not like absolutely massive. And what's happened is all the record labels out in the States has been dropping their dance departments. So there's still a market in the States for dance music. You've just got to source it out and find it where it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the reasons why I just love to play dance music on the show. Because first of all, I know we're a gay show, so I know we're going to have a gay audience, and I know the gay audiences are going to want to hear that kind of music. And it thrills me to find artists like you out there that I can say, hey, gay America, check this out.
Yeah.
This is something that you might be missing. You know what I mean?
You know, and most of the producers I work with are actually gay. They've got a very, very good understanding of the dance scene. And I work with producers from right around the world. So I do work with American producers. Well, in fact, I've been working with a Latvian producer, Australian producer, a couple of UK producers. Then there was, I mentioned Starlet DJs and a couple of other gay producers here. They're very, very big on the UK and, well, still fairly big in the US markets, Australian markets. But, yeah, gay producers have definitely got the vibe for the gay, for the dance scene.
Oh, totally.
You go to a straight producer and say, hey, I want to do a dance track, and they don't really seem to have the same approach to it. Well, and let's be honest, dance music's been around, you know, forever.
Oh, yeah.
In
different forms, but a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always going to be around because the thing is, it's like any style, really. I mean, you know, we always wonder when the whole hip-hop thing is going to come to an end, but it probably never will, because there will always be a fan base for it, just like there will be for dance and pop.
Well, hip-hop is just another form of dance. It's just that slow, come fuck me kind of groove.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, dance music is like, yeah, I want to party. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's where the line is drawn, sort of, with those two types of music.
Yeah, and I think with with dance music, it's got that summery, happy vibe, and people at the end of the day, they still want to be happy.
Yeah, and dance music is the best to listen to when you're on like a road trip.
Yeah, of course.
It's the best. I mean, it gives you that energy. You roll the windows down. You got the wind blowing in your face.
Exactly.
You got the sunglasses on. You're looking all cool. You need to have some jams pumping out of that.